Welcome back to another episode of Lions Basement Banter.
We are here. It's week 10? We're
Going into 11.
Entering week 11 now. We've got a game to recap this week. We're only going to do one episode, and we'll just keep both. We'll do a brief recap of the 26-23 win over the Texans in week 10, and we'll look forward to the game coming Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Instead of doing two separate shows, we'll just combine those into one, so it'll be two shorter segments combined to make one longer show, probably.
Yeah, and we're not breaking any news here, but we made the trade at the trade deadline that a lot of people were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So Darius Smith came on over here, and he's back in the NFC North for his third team in the NFC North, and then and he did some things even though he was inactive that was pretty impressive in this last game. So we'll talk about that when we recap too. So. Yeah. What did you think about the game?
Yeah, I was going to say, without further ado, let's just jump in. Houston Texans, Detroit Lions. The Lions eke out a 26-23 win with a pair of Jake Bates fourth quarter field goals to win it. Obviously, the thing we've got to talk about first off is an awful performance by the Lions offense. Just an awful performance. Jared Goff in particular, he threw the 5 picks. Obviously, I'm going to call Jared Goff out when he plays bad. He's played phenomenal this season, but this game was just atrocious.
It was a slip up for sure. Yeah.
Not knocking him. I still think he's a great quarterback, and he's played great for us all year. He's bound to have one or two games where he's not great. He doesn't play well.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody wants to talk about these 5 interceptions. I do understand. Stats are stats. They're still interceptions, but the one at the end of the half was a Hail Mary. It was going to be either a touchdown or an interception, realistically. That's just how those usually go. I mean, can't take it away from him. I understand it's still a stat, but there was that one. There was the tip pass that got picked. So it's not all 100% his fault, but still not a great outing by him altogether. In all. So.
I'll dispel, first of all, the tip pass, the one you talked about. I think that was his first pick that he threw. I'm going to say I initially was on board with you in terms of, like, that's not completely his fault, but it is kind of his fault because I was rewatching the tape, and you can see that guy's creeping down to blitz. He trusted the fact that he was going to blitz in on him instead of stay back and play Jahmyr Gibbs out in the flat. And Jalen Petre's a smart player. He's not going to – he knew what he was doing that entire time. So Goff's responsibility is to see that and either don't throw it away, or layer that thing over the top. Give it some loft like he did. We saw him do later in the second half when they started their comeback attempt. He kind of lofted that one, almost the same play to Jahmyr Gibbs in the flat when they were backed up in their own 10, and Gibbs explodes for like 20-some yards on a reception. But that one was still, in my eyes, his fault. The one where it was arguably a fumble or an interception, still his fault. He felt, I think it was Danielle Hunter, but I'm not sure. He felt that guy.
Was that you're talking the one that could have been a fumble, possibly?
Yeah. He smacked it out of his hand, and it was intercepted technically. That's his fault. He felt that pressure the whole way, and he just made a poor decision. Hail Mary, like you said, is they're just tossing up a 50-50 ball. It's whatever. That's not really on him. But he just had a bad game, and it looked ugly for us at the half. We were down 16 points. Hadn't really done much offensively. We scored the one touchdown on the, I think it was that the Laporta?
That was pass? Yep. Laporta got the touchdown catch, the first touchdown catch.
Yep. So I mean, that's the major thing that needed to be talked about was Jared Goff's performance. That was really the defining factor for the offense in the first half. And if you
I would just say, sticking with the first half, a couple things that I said to you, and then something that I've seen, I guess, on social media, or I saw at game time. I think it was halftime. There was a couple people not super happy. Like, it looks like we're in desperation mode. Why did we throw that Hail Mary pass? I'm the kind of person that hates that, like, we're gonna down the ball. We're down by 16. We're gonna take a knee and take it into half and see what we can do. I love that we decided in a game where we're down by 16 to at least try to sway it in our what bad was gonna happen, and you know what I mean. Like at that point,
Well, the argument there is always that, you toss that ball down the field, you take the chance of your offense being in a bad position, and then they run that back for a touchdown.
the likelihood of that is pretty rare, I would say. But I mean, at that point, you're down 16. You're trying to get something. You know they're getting the ball back at the end of the or after half. I was all for it. I'm happy with that.
I completely agree.
The other thing that I would say, and I said this to you a few times during the first half of that game, was I don't like what we're putting on tape here. And what I meant by that was our defense. Second half we'll go into that. First half was pretty rough on our defense. The thing the going side to side that the Texans were able to do even scares me against the Bears, honestly, because it was like anything that was thrown into the flat or anything that was a screenplay or whatever, they were just doing whatever they wanted with us. And that, again, the second half changed. AG did some really good stuff, but what we put on tape in that first half scares me a little bit. So we'll see. It might have just been we came out flat and it is what it is, but we'll see.
It doesn't concern me that much because honestly, all I saw is put on tape is that we can play awful at times, and then you can't count us out. We're always going to come back.
It really truly was a tale of two halves. Yeah. I mean, really.
And we watched. Like we were watching that game, and I think early the thought process was we're probably going to lose this game, and that was fine. I think we both we were not happy that it was looking like we were going to lose that game, but both came to the conclusion that this is one game. If they lose it, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. It's a good team we're playing.
I had it as a loss in the preseason. I mean, before the preseason, that was one I had as a loss.
So it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. But then we come out in the second half, and the defense just cranks it up another level. Carlton Davis with 2 interceptions. Obviously, the first one really didn't matter much because we picked him off in the end zone, and Jared Goff came out and threw his 4th pick at that point, or 5th pick. I don't remember. I think it was 4th. But
that wasn't. I'm not trying to nitpick. That wasn't in the end zone. That was the one. Remember, they were talking about. Dan Campbell was saying we need to get a turnover.
That was the dive on the flat.
Yeah, literally, like as he's talking about getting a turnover. Obviously, it was pre-recorded, but they're showing it, and he's like, "We just need to get turnovers one at a time or whatever." And boom, as that's being said, Carlton Davis picks it off.
Yeah.
So
pretty
cool.
We picked him off in their territory, and we had the ball in plus position, and then Jared Goff throws another pick. So that really just didn't do much for us. But we altogether just played very well in that second half. We saw a bit of a resurgence from James Houston on the edge. Ended up with I think a sack and a half is what he got credited with. But big time for him to get out there and show that he could still get after the quarterback. Actually, they only gave him 1 sack. Sorry, they only gave him 1. But he was in multiple times pressuring, which was good to see with Zadarius Smith taking some time off.
I would say James Houston played his ass off, but obviously he still had his ass because he completely shit his pants during the game. So there's that. Obviously.
No, it was just Gatorade.
Listen, shout out to the heavyweights on Woodward Sports. The one thing I'll say about this, and then I'm going to leave it because it's an embarrassing thing for him. I get it. You can go ahead and say it was Gatorade, but it wasn't. That way too perfect of a circle on the chocolate starfish there to be Gatorade. But what they said was they said there's literally nothing more scary in battle if you've got a guy wide-eyed running at you and he shit his pants and he still is looking at you with no care in the world. He's still going to get at you and kill you. Like that's shout out Woodward for that one.
I loved the aftermath that came out of it. There were some guys, I don't know I think it might have been Big Cat for Barstool that was talking about it, and he was just like, there's no way that's Gatorade. He said, in that spot, there's no way.
It's way too, yeah.
Jason Kelsey talked about it too, and he talked about the fact that he had definitely sharded before. He said he sharded one time in like pregame warm-ups or something, and he went over to one of his guys, and he said, am I good? Like,
Had him double check him.
And the guy said, yeah, you're fine. And then he said later, Lane Johnson came up to him and said, dude, you got shit all the way down your leg.
Oh God, that's so gross.
So he went in. He said he went into the locker room before the game and he
did some cleanup.
He stripped off. Well, yeah, he stripped off everything, but he had his shoulder pads and his jersey still on.
Oh my God!
He said he went into the shower and sprayed himself down and got a new pair of pants.
Memories of Paul Pierce faking an injury and then having to be taken off on a in a wheelchair because he actually had crapped his pants.
And who else was that? Wasn't that
DK Metcalf?
Yeah, it was DK Metcalf. He had to go to the bathroom.
That was on the Lions game, I think. Yeah. Say he said the clinch walk wasn't going to do it.
No, he just had to go. He had to go to the bathroom.
Oh man.
Anyway,
so enough about that.
Enough shit talk.
He had a good game. Like I said before, I think I actually posted it on X. If it takes James Houston, crapping his pants on national TV in white pants to play the game he did, then I hope he does it again this week.
Yep.
So.
Well, we had good pressure from him, but other guys.
There was pressure there in his pants. Yeah.
Pascal had a good return to action. He got a sack as well. Liam McNeil had a sack of his own. It was really, I think, cool to see. Oh, Pat O'Connor had a sack too. Sorry, that was the one that James Houston was also in on, but they gave Pat O'Connor full credit. It was good to see that they were doing that, but I think the biggest takeaway I had from the defensive line was not even the play on the field, but what we got to see on the sidelines was Zadarius Smith coaching up the young guns and just, he was showing them technique and like what to do in certain situations. You could see him like showing them how to use their hands in certain situations, which is good because that's one of the things that Zadarius Smith is known best for is his hands. We heard it in interviews with Lions players this week. I think it was Decker was getting interviewed, and he was asked about battles with Zadarius and what he brings to the team, and he said just the things he's known from going up against him and watching him is that he's got violent hands and that he just is
stinking bear paws.
Yeah, really, really good using his hands. But he was, on the tablets out there with the defensive line coach. I can't remember what his name is for the life of me. He's the new guy that they grabbed from the Titans.
Just being a complete leader, though. I mean, like his leadership showed from the very second. And I'm talking Zadarius Smith. Sorry, I don't know the defensive line coach either. But just that, like you're saying, the leadership. The fact that those guys had bought into this, like this guy has only been with this team for 3 days at that point.
Yeah.
Just the complete buy-in of this guy, like everybody's excited for him. I know obviously he looks like a charismatic guy, but just the grin that he has. I mean, ear to ear smiles when he went to a Detroit Pistons game when he first got here in Detroit. He's everywhere smiling. I think they even got him in on the post-game interview, or he jumped in on the post-game interview, and you could just see that the dudes we're finally to a point in Detroit, as at least the Lions, we're to a point where guys want to come here and guys are excited to be part of this team. So
just one more thing I want to touch on with Zadarius Smith is shout out, first of all, this is all I want to say about it, but shout out Dan Campbell for the stand-up thing that he did for him.
Yes. Yep.
We all wanted to see Zadarius Smith on the field. Zadarius Smith wanted to be on the field. If you caught him in the post game, he came up and grabbed the mic from the guys on the post game show and was talking to them, and they asked him about like about not being on the field, and he said I wish he wouldn't have given me the time off. He said I want to be out there, and he said but it was just a classy move. He said he has a home in Florida, where it
down
was
there in
near
Tampa,
where
I think
the hurricanes had hit and affected those areas, and because he plays for Cleveland, he hadn't gotten a chance to go down there, and they were about to be on bye week, so he was going to go down and check on his house and see how things stood, and he obviously gets traded, so he's not going to have that bye week, and Dan Campbell told him to take 2 days off and go down and check on his house and that, so that's what he did, and he went down there and said everything was fine, but he said he wanted to be out there, and he was kind of mad that Dan Campbell told him to take time off, but he said it was a great, just stand-up thing for Dan Campbell. He said that's just what they do for their players over here, which was another great thing
It
for
just
other people to
Yeah,
hear.
it's just like Dan Campbell is a head coach, yeah, but he's also a PR guy. I mean, not just him. I should say Brad Holmes too. I mean, it goes back to, when we extended Panay, and they came in and they gave him a lay as he comes into. I think it was when he came to give his signing interview or whatever it was. It's just that kind of thing, man. Like they're just classy people. They run a business right. They make it so
They
people want to
understand
be
their
here.
players.
Yeah, they care about them. They make it so people want to be here. So yeah, big ups to them. I love that.
We'll get off the extracurriculars and focus back on the game. We've got the second half to talk about. Obviously, we said we were down 16 heading into that. The turnovers did not stop in the second half. We still had 2 more picks that went our way. Luckily, we were able to offset those with 2 picks of our own, both by Carlton Davis, who got interviewed this week and said it felt good to get the corners off the schneid there. Had not gotten a pick from a corner,
Yeah.
and both picks in this game come from him. So great to see him out there playing well. We are, those were big, and obviously it offsets what we did to hurt ourselves, but it gave us time, and that's all we needed, and we got some stuff going. We got a David Montgomery rushing touchdown there, and then we had the Amon-Ra touchdown on the screen pass out to the right. Ran it in rather easily, and that put us at a 17. What were we at? Yeah, what were we at that point?
I think didn't that put us to 20? I think it was 20 to 23.
Yeah, we went for 2 point on that David Montgomery. We went for 2. Yeah, so we were at 20 to 20.
20 to 23 at that point.
20 to 23, yeah, because Kaimi Fairbairn had hit a field goal, or they scored a touchdown, sorry.
That was all in the first half. They didn't score again in the second.
Yeah. So that was the big thing, was our defense was huge in the second half. We blanked them completely, didn't score a single point. So 23 to, whatever it was, I can't remember, 7, I think, going
at
to half.
Yeah, yep.
Come out, we scored 6 points in the third quarter, which was just the touchdown and the failed 2-point conversion attempt. Fourth quarter, we come out, we get the Amon-Ra touchdown, as I said, and then we get to the fourth quarter, or we're in the fourth quarter at that point, and we're getting to the end, and we are still obviously trailing by
3 points at that time.
3 points at that time, yep. And Kaimi Fairbairn had a chance to knock one through to put them up by 6, and he missed.
No, we
or
hit
was that the one to break the tie?
Yeah, that was to break the tie. Yep.
So he hit the 58-yarder to tie it. Jake Bates did.
Bates did, yep.
And then Kaimi Fairbairn comes in with a chance to give the Texans the lead back, and he shanked that thing way left of the upright, which is odd because he's usually a pretty good kicker. He's had some struggles as of late, though.
Struggled in the game before, yeah, and then obviously that one, but.
Yep, and then we get down to the final seconds, and Jake Bates.
And I'm looking like this.
Yeah, we're looking like that because if you watched, we had nothing but confidence in Jake Bates, but after that first one, it snuck its way in. You
on the
could
right
see
side.
The shadow of the ball on the right.
Right upright.
Upright. He hits the second one from a shorter distance of 52 yards, and it goes towards the left upright, and it almost kisses that thing.
Sheila Ford Hamp has reportedly hired somebody to go up and take a grinder to the inside of the posts to get rid of the paint. So we get that much more.
That was one of the best things I've ever heard Chris Collinsworth say.
My goodness.
That Jake Bates was happy that they didn't put that extra coat of paint on the upright.
Yes.
That was pretty good. I don't like Collinsworth all the time because the way he glazes Mahomes, but that was
he has a couple good ones. Yep. So I guess the one thing I will say about this, the last stretch of the R2 field goals and then the Fairbairn miss. I struggled with this the first of the week because I actually had a draft on X that I was typing, and then I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to post that. I'm going to sit on it for a second. I actually was reflecting on how not scary, but how I don't like the feeling we had when Fairbairn went to kick it. Our entire game pretty much hinges on him missing that. We have zero control over this game. We had completely lost control even up to that point. And I mean, you can argue there would still have been time to do a comeback or whatever, but let's be real, 5 interceptions, Goff was not dealing. So it was just nerve-wracking. But then I started thinking, like, you look back at some of these other teams that have won Super Bowls and gone on Super Bowl runs, and every single one of these teams, it takes a little bit of luck at some time during the season, whether it's good luck for that team or bad luck for the player or the team that you're playing against. And this just feels like one of those games where it was just meant for the Lions to have won this game at whatever was going to happen to this game. It was just meant for it to happen. So, yeah I feel good about it.
Yeah, I will say that I really we could have won that game regardless if he made that field goal or not. Because on that last drive, realistically, we were driving and we kind of took our foot off the gas because we knew we were in field goal range, and our only process there was get to field goal range and run
we
the
also
clock.
Started at the 49-yard line because of that miss, though.
Yeah, that's I get it. But our mindset there was get in and run the clock down. And how great of a feeling is that we are finally in a situation where we do not have to have the touchdown and we do not have to drive down to like the 20-yard line to give our kicker a chance. Dan Campbell has the utmost confidence in Jake Bates, and it shows. I mean, how many times last year could we say that we got into field goal range and we actually let Badgley kick it?
And he's earned it. I mean, and he's earned that trust because, I mean, he's the, and we're going to sit here and jinx him, whatever, but he is the only kicker with 10-plus kicks to not miss one yet this year. He's the only one. So, it's hard to hate on him.
So, I don't really think we need to touch more. There wasn't a lot. I think the last thing I want to say on this game is welcome back Jameson Williams. Made some huge crucial catches.
That double clutch catch or whatever was awesome.
The ones that were the biggest ones were obviously the one where he kind of had to grab it behind, and then the one where he catches it, high points it, and gets sandwiched by two huge hits. And finds a way to hold on to that ball.
Yeah, that came out of his hands, and he still grabbed it again. I mean, he caught it twice in one shot there. So
So welcome back to him. Glad we got to see him get involved. Obviously, there were some plays where it looked like there was a bit of miscommunication between him and Goff, and I think one of those even led to an interception, unfortunately. But it is what it is. He played well. We got the win. That's all we care about.
8-1, baby.
Moving on. I think we just move right into this week's game, right? So this week we have the 2-8 Jacksonville Jaguars coming into Detroit to play the Lions at Ford Field.
0-5 on the road so far.
The Jaguars are okay. I did not know that.
Haven't won on the road yet. They are not playing their starting quarterback.
Yep. Biggest news is, like Zach just said, Trevor Lawrence has been ruled out. They will roll with Mac Jones as their starter. Obviously, never count them out, but that bodes well for us. Mac Jones has not played well in relief for Trevor Lawrence in the past week or whatever, a week and a half that he's played. Have you looked at any injury reports for them? Do you know if Brian Thomas is in?
Brian Thomas is in. He's listed as a full go. ETN is a full go.
Whatever, he's a non-factor anyway.
Right.
Tank Bigsby is the one you got to watch out for.
I didn't see that one. As the last I knew, Bigsby was questionable. I haven't seen.
I believe he's a full go. I think Schefter said that the plans are for him to play. If I remember right.
Okay.
Obviously, the Lions' injuries on their side. The biggest one is Sam Laporta. He will not play this week. Was seen walking out of the Sunday night football game in Houston with a sling.
Yeah, left shoulder injury.
Yep. So we're not sure. Campbell said it's not serious. He expects it to be more of like a day-to-day, week-to-week type thing. So hopefully they'll give him a week off and he'll be ready to roll for the Colts.
I'm hoping this is a Tennessee Titans type game where we don't really need those tight ends as much, and we need more of like the Brock Wright blocking tight end type feel. I mean, obviously Zylstra can get in there, catch the ball. So can Brock Wright. He's done it, but
I think this is going to be more of a running game. To be honest,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. I'm hoping it's more of like that Tennessee game where we can throw it and we are able to and we will, but the running, it's more of like a run blocking tight end if we have them out there.
Yeah, I definitely see Montgomery and Gibbs having a bigger week this week.
They have the same amount of rushing attempts.
I saw 122
100%. Yeah. That is so crazy. And they said they didn't do that on purpose. So that's awesome.
Scotty Montgomery
Balance.
was all over that. He said that was their goal is to make sure that they kind of equal each other out in carries. And he said, I think if you look at it, they're pretty close. They're exactly the same amount. So.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's this should be, by all accounts and purposes, this should be an absolute just roll to victory for us.
This should be easier than the Titans game because they have a worse defense.
Hopefully this is another week where we see Hendon Hooker in the fourth quarter.
Hopefully this is a game where we see Hendon Hooker partway through the third quarter. But that
would be ideal, but I don't think that happens.
Not at this time.
The reason the run game I think is going to be big is because obviously Jacksonville has two very good pass rushers on the edge. You've got the Josh Hines Allen, I think is what he goes by now, but obviously very talented guy, was a free agent this last offseason, got paid a massive amount of money. A lot of Lions fans wanted us to go after him, but we were not paying that kind of money for him when we got Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other side, you got Trayvon Walker, who, again, tied into Hutchinson, was the number one pick in that same draft 2 years ago, where Hutchinson went number 2 to us. He fell because his arms were too short. Thank you, Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was also speculated that he might have been up for trade at the deadline, and I saw some Lions fans wanting that too, which I wouldn't have been opposed to.
I wouldn't have either, but he would have cost too much.
Yeah.
He's a first overall pick who hasn't gotten through his first contract yet. They probably wanted a first back for him.
Yeah. It was kind of a pipe dream. It was kind of not as much of a pipe dream as the Max Crosby, Myles Garrett thing, but yeah. Either way.
Yeah. So we talked about this as well as on defense. I told you my prediction here is that I think this could be quite possibly, and I'll say this game in a standalone, but the next 3 games really, this could be a very good chance for us to get some distance on the interceptions in terms of lead or closing the gap with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. I think they both could have big games. Brian Branch had a huge game against Houston, didn't show up as much in terms of stats, but he was there just wreaking havoc all over the field, PBUs and tackles, big tackles. I think they could have big games. I also think there's potential that we could get a Tyrion Arnold first pick of his career.
Yeah. I wanted to point that out. You did say the safeties the next 3 games should have big games. I think if there's a time where you're not going to go the Mike Payton way and sit a guy or sub him in or whatever, I think if there was ever a time where we can work on some, he's got the intangibles, Tyrion Arnold, but if there's a time where you can work on getting some confidence with turning your head around, not creating those penalties, these next 3 games are it. We've got a second string quarterback. We've got a team that's got a quarterback that can't throw the ball very accurately. And then we've got the savior god to football, Caleb Williams, who is nothing but booty cheeks, honestly. So these next 3 are big for confidence boosters, as well as, like you said, that secondary getting some INTs.
Yep.
So
really the Jacksonville Jaguars are just not playing very good football right now. So there's not much for me really to highlight here.
There's speculation they might fire Peterson halfway through this game. So
Tank Bigsby, obviously on the ground is probably
good game.
The one that you really have to watch for. And then you're also, Trevor Lawrence when he's out there, I think is more dangerous because he's got rapport with those receivers. He's got a good connection with Christian Kirk usually.
Brian Thomas is dealing.
They've got Evan Ingram. I don't know much about, honestly I haven't been following their season because they've stunk so much.
Yeah, Brian Thomas has had a pretty good rookie season when Trevor Lawrence is out there and they're both healthy. But other than that, I don't think he's going to have a massive game by any means.
No, I don't think so either. I think,
but I'll still start him in my fantasy.
I'm just gonna jump right to it unless you have something else to say. Do you have a score prediction?
This show is brought to you by Empire Contractors. Over here in Shelby, Michigan, on the west side of the state where we do our show, right along the lakeshore, Empire Contractors is a commercial roofing contractor who specializes in liquid applied roofing restoration. Check this out.
They can clean your existing roof, make some minor repairs, and apply a new, thick coating system over your existing roof. Avoiding expensive and nasty tear-off, saving you about half the cost over other systems, Empire Contractors work the entire Great Lakes region.
Give them a call to see if your roof is a candidate. They can be reached at 231-861-7221 or by going to roofsbyempire.com. They are also on Facebook.
Yeah, I do have a score prediction. I do want to just highlight real quick some of our injuries. Carlton Davis, that's a big one. He's not going to miss time, but he did break his thumb in practice on Thursday going up against Amon-Ra.
So he was in a brace.
Yep. So they're going to cast him up. They said it was a clean break. So Amon-Ra, chill, bro. Iron sharpens iron, but we don't need to break the iron. I guess they were going too hard at it. He broke his thumb. And he said he's not going to miss any time. He said, honestly, once they'll cast it up and once adrenaline takes over, he'll be fine.
So a good thing that he got his 2 picks because it's going to be a lot
right.
harder getting
yeah, they're going to be some one-handed grabs. That's okay. That's okay. Kirby will just take those ones for him. But Ify Melifonwu and Broderick Martin and Emmanuel Mosley all full practice this week. All are listed as out for this week. Also, Christian Mahogany, I believe, was back in practice. He's also listed as out, but those guys are all in their designated to return time right now. So we're getting some help coming. Not starters, but we are getting some help coming after this game, I think.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Score predictions.
Score predictions. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Man, I always pick these. I always say they're close, and then we end up blowing them out. So I almost want to just say close, but that's not what I think. I'm actually going to go. I'm thinking it's going to be a 32-17.
I'm going to go with an odd number here.
And I'm thinking 32-17. Real quick, just to say, I think it's 32-10, but it's a touchdown in garbage time.
I'm going to go 35-15.
Oh.
And why I say
all
15 is because the Lions have been so good about not allowing teams to score on them. Obviously, the Texans got some done, but the Texans are the Texans. They're a very good team. They're going to be a playoff team. The Jaguars are not a good team, and they have Mac Jones running it. I don't see a way that they are going to score a lot of points. I think they're going to have to kick a lot of field goals this week.
Okay.
So I could see them hitting,
5 field goals.
Well,
okay, fine. I'll explain how mine goes. I don't see him scoring a touchdown either. It's going to be 7 safeties and a field goal. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, if that happens, I hope to be a millionaire.
So, just so people know where we stand, the playoff picture right now, even if the Lions were to lose this game this week, I doubt they will, but if they do, their odds to make the playoffs are still at 98%.
Yeah.
If they win this one, they remain at greater than a 99% chance to make the playoffs, which is automatically where they are right now.
Their chance to make the 1 seed. Were you going to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you can say it. The chance to make the 1 seed would
68% right now.
Get a little bit harder because, of course, we saw Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football take down division rival Washington. Both of those teams were high in contention for that number 1 seed. Philly winning means they sit at 8-2. So if we were to lose, we would have an identical record, and then likely it goes off strength of schedule at that point, which I feel like we would still have the edge in. But
yeah, at the end of the season we will. Yes.
Yeah, but just with Philadelphia coming up, they do have some tough games. They probably have an easier way technically than we do to finish out the season, but they do play some pretty good teams coming up. They got to
play Washington
Rams
again, I think.
Yeah, they do. They have to play the Rams, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Commanders, and then they've got 3 games I think they'll win with the Panthers, the Cowboys, and the Giants.
Hey, now Panthers got 2 straight.
Panthers could surprise, but I don't know. The Eagles, everyone wants to talk about, oh my gosh, they beat the Commanders. The Eagles put up 3 points until halftime, and they were sitting at 12 points heading into the fourth quarter.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
No, I'm just saying they got a Saquon Barkley touchdown in the fourth quarter that gave them the lead, and then they got a garbage time Saquon Barkley touchdown that pushed the score out, made it look way better than it was. That was a way closer game than what it looked like.
The Eagles' defense is crazy good right now. I will say that. They are crazy good.
Is playing out of his mind right now.
Who's that?
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Quinyon Mitchell is possibly CB1 of the entire NFL right now. He's shut down completely. But anyway, I want to go back to the Lions real quick. You're saying based on we're both saying based on this game, we're thinking we'll be 9-1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they run the table? And if not, where do you think they end up at this point?
Do I think the Lions run the table?
Yes.
I think it's certainly possible. I will say, with my delusional Lion, I said this after the Texans.
As a homer?
I will say that after the Texans game, I told you I had them sitting exactly where they are in record after this game, but I had them beating the Buccaneers and losing to the Texans. So I had them sitting at 8-1 regardless. I had them going a perfect 8-0 to start the year, and they really should have done that.
Yeah, realistically, yes.
9-0
but
right now.
So based on being 8-1 right now, what do you see? I mean, realistically, what are you thinking? What would your prediction be for our final record?
Realistically, I think our ceiling would be we lose 2 more games.
Okay.
And I think our floor would be that we lose 4 more games.
Okay.
I think Jacksonville, the Colts, the Bears, all 3 of our next games should push us to 11-1. I don't think we should have a problem there. I think if we were going to lose any games, it would be the Packers, the Bills, the Niners, and the Vikings. Those I could see us losing. I think we sweep the Bears easy. For the ceiling picks, I see us beating the Packers and the Vikings probably. I don't know. It's hard to judge. I think realistically, what we should be looking at right now, though, is a what am I thinking? Like a 14-2.
Okay. 14-3.
Is it
17 games? Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're
14-3 is what I would say. I think at the very best, we probably could get to 15-1.
Okay, that would be 16-1. You're saying?
17 game schedule. Sorry. Yeah, 7.
You're seeing 16-1 as a possibility.
Is a possibility, but I think it's going to be tough to get past the Packers, Vikings, Niners, and Bills unscathed. I do think we could win both the Packers and the Vikings games. I think the Bills and the Niners are going to be more challenging, with Christian McCaffrey returning to the Niners and Josh Allen looking like an MVP candidate for the Bills.
Okay. Yeah, so honestly, if I'm looking at the schedule, it's going to be really hard to go 6-0 in our division, obviously. So I would say we'll probably lose one of those. And I would actually say I think we beat the Bears twice. I think we beat the Packers twice. I would say the slip-up we have is possibly the last game against the Vikings, but the reason we do that is because we're sitting starters.
I was going to say, yeah, we could very realistically lose that game just because we've already clinched the one.
Yep. So
but then again, we know Dan Campbell, and I don't know if he's sitting his starters, even if we've clinched the 1 seed.
I think, yeah, that's true. Honestly, I don't know. So if I look at this, and a little bit of homer in me, obviously, but we're allowed to do that. I would say like the next time we slip up is probably against the Bills. I still think that team's going to possibly punch us in the mouth. But you know what? I'm okay with not running the table if we still get the 1 seed. I'm okay with slipping up against the Bills and then having, the last 3 games where we do things like go to Chicago and we whoop on them there. We go Monday night game in San Francisco and we get our revenge there. And then maybe we beat the Vikings the last game of the season. Regardless, whether we have the 1 seed locked up, I'm okay with one. I think I was saying this on X, actually. Someone thought I was throwing in the towel or whatever, but I'm not. I'm okay as long as we still get that 1 seed. We don't have to run the table. I'm okay with us getting punched in the mouth on one of these games here if it means it resets us and we go deep into the playoffs, possibly into the Super Bowl, because we got punched in the mouth and it was a wake-up call. Maybe we avoided that by still winning a game that we should have lost. Maybe that's the wake-up call, the reset, the whatever you need in a long season with the Texans there. But we'll see what happens. I'm okay with not running the table if that's what it takes, though.
Yep. Just talking about division rivals, we've got two teams playing each other this week. It's Bears-Packers week.
Go Bears.
And we got the Vikings playing the Titans this week. So
Go Titans.
Vikings probably going to win that game. Gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bears stand a chance of beating the Packers.
Remember I was thinking about this. Remember the first game of the season when we watched the Titans almost beat the Bears, and we were like, "Holy crap, the Titans might be good," but no, the Bears were just really that bad.
Obviously, we know that the Bears fired offensive coordinator. What was his name? I can't even remember.
Shane Waldron.
Oh yeah, Shane Waldron. Seahawks guy that they hired this offseason.
Smoke screen for Eberflus to keep his job. He sucks, but Eberflus is the problem. It's not just Shane Waldron.
Yeah. Well, here's what I've consistently said is, Caleb Williams has the talent. He needs to be developed though, and they cannot develop a quarterback for the life of them. If they had gone out and hired Cliff Kingsbury, they would have been fine. Because guess what? Cliff Kingsbury was with Caleb Williams in his college career and helped him look like a great quarterback. And I think if they would have done that and stuck with it, he would have known what he needed to succeed. But he went to Washington, and look what Washington's doing with Jaden Daniels.
Let me throw something out there. This is I haven't seen anybody say this, so this might be the first time this take has been said. This is not a joke. Everybody's like talking, oh, Bears gonna go for Ben Johnson, gonna do all this stuff. No, don't think so. But I'm gonna throw this out there. You know who a really good candidate would be? Kellen Moore. I'm telling you right now, he was a quarterback in the NFL. I'm telling you right now. I don't
think they're going for Kellen Moore. I think they want a young. I know Kellen Moore's young.
I'm saying the Cowboys screwed up by letting him go. He went to where's he at? The Chargers right now. Their offense is doing well with players that were there last year. You know, I'm just saying he was the successor for who was there before McCarthy in Dallas.
I can't remember.
I don't know. He was the successor for them, and somehow he ended up not getting that job, so he went over.
Make sure to check you there. No, he's not on the Chargers. He's the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I thought he was with the Chargers. Was he with the Chargers last year? Maybe.
He was with the Chargers at one point. I can't remember.
Okay. I still think he's going to be in the mix for a head coaching job, and I think he might be a good one for the Bears. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. There's going to be a lot of openings, so he might get one regardless just because. I still think that the Bears are going to target Kingsbury. I think they'd be stupid not to if he wants a head coaching job.
Speaking of the Bears, Jaquan Brisker, man.
Yeah, he's got something going on.
He's in the concussion protocol.
He's been out for like 6 weeks or something.
And then they just put him on IR.
Yeah, so he's gonna miss another.
It's bad. I don't know what he's got, but it's bad.
He's had a history of missing multiple games with concussion protocol.
Not good. Really not good.
So yeah.
Don't wish that on anybody.
Hopefully he's okay. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any burning questions that you want to ask?
I don't think so. I mean, I think obviously, I think we said what we need to say about this game and where we think we'll be. I guess the only other thing is, do you think Hutchinson makes it back if we're in the playoffs?
I was skeptical to think that, but hearing everything I have, and Schefter even said it. He said, if the Lions make the Super Bowl, they'll have Zadarius Smith and Aiden Hutchinson rushing the passer. So I heard it from his camp, obviously, that they expected that, but hearing it from a third-party reporter kind of cements it a little bit.
I've also heard that he is going to be doing his rehab with Barnes, so it's possible we get Barnes back. For the Super Bowl. That'd be crazy to go in completely healthy, but you never know. A lot of time between now and then. Let's just keep on plugging away. Hopefully Zadarius Smith does what he needs to do as far as get the pressures in there.
We've been lucky with recovery from injury because obviously Emmanuel Mosley's on track to return in tore labrum. We were going to get him for this year.
Right. We kind of looked at that not even happening. I still don't even know how bad if he was or what really happened there.
Well, it seems like he continues to compound because he had a finger injury stacked onto that ankle.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't know what you're not playing football at that point. What are you doing, cutting kiwis in your kitchen? I don't know what happened there. I don't know. But
well, That's it. That's all we've got. Obviously, we expect to smoke the Jaguars this week. Let's hope that happens.
I think we're past. I think the same old Lions. The SOL is dead. Hopefully, we're not worried about a trap game here. Hopefully, we take care of business and we don't look past the team.
Yep.
So,
without further ado,
Go Lions!
go Lions, baby.